ever when that's not present. And some people think that you somehow arrive magically at profitability land, and that once you're in profitability land, the skies are blue forever and you never have these issues.
Consistently profitable is a mile marker. It's not a destination. You're constantly moving forward. And sometimes you're going to be forced off that pathway you think is the only way there is to continue staying that way. And you have to take a detour. And sometimes it's going in a U turn, going back to go forward again. And that's you just simply navigating the uncertainty of what's ahead. Drawdown, losses, going on tilt. You know, if you have a model and you have an approach to following that model, and you understand how to read price action, and unfortunately you let greed or fear or just the wild markets in one day completely overcome you, and you just go on tilt and you blow out. If you don't have a model, it's next to impossible for you to want to come back ever again. You'll want to do it, but that hurt and that fear of losing more will prevent you from ever really doing it. The people that have a small little understanding about what they should have done, they're the ones that go back and do it again. The people that learn their lesson trying to over leverage, trying to overtrade because they think they have it and they're going to make these big payouts real quick. They have a model, but they just do things stupid with it. When they blow and tilt out, it's easy for them to re-up and restart again because they know what they did was silly, but they're just trying to find out if they can just get that lottery win on something that's consistently profitable if they just stay in its parameters. They don't have any reservations about it. They won't even beat themselves up about being on tilt. And I think that's really what these highest paid out traders are. They blow counts all the time. They blow them all the time. They do a stellar fashion of blowing out lots of accounts. They don't mind it so much, and they don't care what the people's public opinion of it is because they know what they're doing with their own skill sets. They're just trying to push it beyond the scope of what they should do and hoping that opportunity and their willingness to participate with over leveraging meets together and they get a big payout. So they're playing the lottery with something that gives them a small edge, but they keep pushing it harder and harder and harder because they know eventually they might get a big payout. I want to see people in my fold that consistently go in and they take measured approaches that allows them to get these wins that isn't over the top. Let me say it this way. Here's a wonderful way of saying it. If you take your 5 highest payouts or your 5 highest winning trades, take them out of the past month's trading, what's your numbers look like? If you can't pay the bills, if you're not getting grocery money at least out of that, then your model is usually leaning towards lottery-like trading. There should be consistency there. It doesn't mean you have to be profitable every single day, but it means that your wins versus your losses should be measured. It doesn't mean if you have losses a couple times a week or a couple times a month or a net loss week, that's a bad thing. You're going to encounter that. There's no way around it. If you're going to stay in this business and you're striving to be consistently profitable and you want to operate in a professional manner where you're treating it like a business, restaurants sometimes have a whole bunch of people come in, dine and dash. They lost money that night. They come in, they start fights, and tear the place up. They didn't foresee that coming, but they took a loss. Are they going to close up the business? Say, that's it. We're never operating it again because this is what happened that one time. No. And that's how you have to conduct yourself. Sure, you're going to take a loss, and you should expect that you're going to have losses. But you don't go in fearing that you're going to have a loss, and it overcomes you such a degree that you talk yourself out of following your model, and you're so worrisome about what is this going to do to me if I take a loss. The sheer fact that you're even entertaining that question tells you you're not ready to be trading with real money. You haven't learned your model. You haven't conditioned yourself to trade in the state of indifference. Indifference is, I don't care what the outcome is going to be. The model says this, my experience says this, and everything that's happening in price action is supporting the idea, so therefore I'm going to go forward with it. It's just a transaction. I don't need the money at the end of this trade. That right there is success in a complete sentence. All things I just said, that's the mode of which consistently profitable trading is acquired, and you stay in that lane. If you're worried about the outcome of money, if you want the big payout, you're going to look into the market and see things that you want to see. You're going to project these things in price action. You're going to project it because you want to convince yourself, stay with this. It's going to be a big payout. It's going to be a big payout. And when you share it online, everybody's going to say this is the greatest thing in the world, and you're the BSD for today. And when you don't care about having the big payout, you're just trading the model with reasonable leverage where it's not going to cause you any kind of anxiety. And these types of trades yield at least what you earn in a year in your income on a week by week basis, or slightly more. And you graduate over time by applying these things and these perspectives while you're doing what it is you're doing to be better at trading, to stick to your model, to stick to your procedures and protocols, managing risk impeccably, not fearing missing moves, reminding yourself every day, what did I do good today? What did I learn today? What was exciting? What was I pleasantly surprised about today? Contrast that with what you're going to do later on today, or what you would have done and what you've been doing every Friday. Man, I really screwed up. I should have never traded that day. I should have never went back in. I took a small loss. I could have stopped right there, but no, I had to go do something stupid and go and trade somebody, and I blew the account. That's exactly what you do. And that's toxic. So every day, even if you have a bad day, you got to go back and think, what was I surprised by today? What was I pleasantly surprised with my ability to stop, not do something painful, stay in the rules, something I expected to see happen in price, and it happened. Even if it's simply looking at a fair value gap. And now, because I'm teaching you the high probability levels and how to determine what that is, and it happened just like you learned it would act like. That's encouragement. And if you constantly, every single day of your life, you should always do that. Not just in trading, everything. Before you lay your head down tonight, and every day you lay your head down, tell yourself, what did I learn today? What was a positive moment in my day? What was a pleasant surprise? And it made me smile. And I'm able to smile about it right now because I didn't expect it to happen, and I'm thankful that it did. What did I encourage someone else with? What was I encouraged by someone else that I know or love? And what am I going to try to do tomorrow to make things better than I am right now? You can't think toxic if you do those things. If you live your life like that, you're programming yourself to think on a wavelength that it does not permit toxicity in. You're a higher vibration. You're staying outside of that cortisol inducing mindset. And you wonder why you don't feel good. You don't feel like you're focused because you're given all this time and energy to toxic things and people. And if you're around that type of stuff, it's going to cause you to think like that. And if you're thinking toxic, well, you're going to be toxic. And if you look for the positive in everything, you speak the positive with your mouth, you only let it in your mind and your ear when it's positive, and you cancel out and prevent anyone having toxicity, you're giving yourself every advantage that you possibly can to grow. And hang on one second, I'm getting a text. All right, she ain't gonna be home until like 3:30, so you get an extra. What is that? 30 minutes or so.
Noise. Noise.
Kind of broke my attention, but anyway, I said enough. Let's move on with this.
Yeah. We got Gordo here. We got Pippi here. We got a few folks. We got the speaker tag too. So we're just going to open up the floor.